Welcome, my name is Matt, aka Road Jedi 88. We are getting into Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, mods, Jedi Knight Anakin. A lot can be said about Jedi Knight Anakin. This is the Anakin for the Clone Wars specifically. Anakin, there are a lot of books that can be covered about Anakin. Starting with Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, where you can also kind of cross-reference read with the Star Wars Episode 1 journals, more specifically, Star Wars Episode 1 Journal Anakin Skywalker, where you can get backstories of Anakin from starting within the time era of The Phantom Menace, that book, but you also get, in the journal, you get more specific details of Anakin in person from him, as if it was written by him. Kind of like a journal, kind of diary thing. Where he gives a little backstory. He also shares about his friends, like Greedo, childhood friend, various things like that. Then, of course, we get to read about him in Attack of the Clones. But before going to that, between the Phantom Menace and before going into Attack of the Clones is Jedi Quest. It is Obi-Wan training Anakin Skywalker as his Padawan. But then there is, of course, the Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. And then, with this one, Phantom Menace, we get to meet Anakin. Episode 2, we're getting to kind of get a better insight into the mind of Anakin Skywalker. And then in Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, we get to see the fall of Anakin Skywalker and the rise of his Darth Vader form. And of course, as always, you get to read about Anakin Skywalker in the form of Darth Vader all the way through Star Wars Episode 4, 5, and 6. Episode 4, A New Hope, originally written by George Lucas himself. The other books, they are under other different authors, kind of like Tom Clancy, but they are approved by George Lucas himself. Because he basically still wrote the overall story. He just kind of had help with the fillers, I guess. If that's the way you want to look at it, I guess that's what he did. But there is one recommendation I do make, and that is, after you get done with The Empire Strikes Back, do not jump into Return of the Jedi. Instead, go to Shadows of the Empire. Shadows of the Empire is the bridge story between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. It answers a lot of questions that I hear a lot of first-time Return of the Jedi movie reactors ask, that literally in this book, no joke, answers their questions. It answers things like, how did Luke come to realize, believing that there was good in his father? There's a situation that takes place in this. Palpatine pulling stunts behind Darth Vader's back, and him intervening in front of Luke. I don't want to give all the spoilers, but he gives Luke a damn good reason to believe that there is still good in him. And it also honestly, this is something that I wish my generation of Star Wars has wished for a long time. They would make a film. They would turn this book into a film, because it would do the same for Return of the Jedi that Rogue One and Andor did for A New Hope. In the book form, it already does for anyone who has read it. It actually already has for any of us who has read it. But for those who haven't read it and are just kind of preferencing films, you have no idea what you're missing. And a lot of your questions seriously are being answered in this book. It would do the same for you with Return of the Jedi, the way Andor and Rogue One did for A New Hope. But then, once you're done with Shadows of the Empire, then go into Return of the Jedi. And following Return of the Jedi is the book The Glove of Darth Vader. Luke kind of gets some interaction with the Force ghost of his father. Uh, yeah, Luke. I got lost in my head trying to transfer all this over. Luke does actually have some interactions with Force Ghost Anakin in this book, and on and off actually throughout any books after Return of the Jedi. It's not every single book, but there are some occasional interactions that Luke will have with Force Ghost Anakin. He basically is just trying to help guide his son in the direction what not to go, because who else better to know, right? Anakin. But yeah. So coming back to Anakin Skywalker, or Jedi Knight Anakin specifically, he is an attacker character. If you go to my mods playlist in my channel, it's a playlist specifically with all the characters, to the best of my ability, alphabetically, not perfect, but at the beginning of that playlist, I specifically define the various different types of character roles, such as attacker. I also break down the various different types of mods, such as critical chance, critical damage, tank, potency, tenacity, etc. Various mods that for many people when they first look at this, it probably might kind of go over their heads. So I try to help break it down. If you look at Anakin Skywalker here, or Jedi Knight Anakin, I'm just going to call him Anakin Skywalker, or just Anakin. Okay, the in-game tips recommends modding him with just health. I spoke about this over in a Jawa, the Jawa mods video. That is just underutilizing, kind of misappropriating the purpose of an attacker character, putting just health on an attacker. You want to make use of that attacker for what his purpose is, attacking. You have a healer, and we have a crap load of Jedis. We have a huge list of Jedis. We have plenty of Jedi healers along the way. Unlike with the Jawas, where we have just barely enough to squat up. In this case, highly unnecessary. And it's a good thing that if you go over to swgoh.gg, that website, the online website there, takes statistics of fans' preferences, and they make a lot of sense over there. Critical chance and critical damage. It takes 4 critical damage to activate, 2 critical chance to activate. With critical chance is a gambling word. It's a statistical odds. You throw in the word critical, you're increasing the statistical odds that when Anakin hits, his hits are going to actually hit. Critical damage. He's not only going to hurt them, he's going to do damage to them. So, we are increasing the kind of hit when he attacks. You're basically cross-training him to have the punch effect of like what a tank character would be able to dish out. But in the attacker's case, they kind of naturally have like speed in them. They have offense in them. So they're going to get that tank punch a little quicker. It's gonna come at them a lot quicker and a little unexpectedly. If you wanted to though, you could go with mods like potency in place of critical chance. You could do potency. Is that correct? Let me double check myself. I said 4 for damage, 4 for chance. Yeah, okay, so what you would have 4 critical damage. If you threw in potency, that means he's going to dominate with his critical damages when he attacks with that speed and the offense that's already naturally in his character. Forget about the chance. You can make him just straight up dominate them with that potency. But yeah, that is Jedi Knight Anakin. Like I said, a lot could be said about him, but this is also a lead character. In fact, this was George Lucas's lead focus character, intended character when he first got into writing up the Star Wars stories. He kind of wanted the focus to be on Anakin. So yeah, there's going to be a lot to be said about Anakin. That's Jedi Knight Anakin mods for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Subscribe to the channel, like the videos, comments and questions, suggestions down below. And thank you for following. May the Force be with you.